are live here on the Scare Network Facebook and YouTube and a couple other places. I am Billy Lewis with the Scare Network, and I am joined by Matt Lolich. Is that how you say your last name?
Lolich.
Lolich.
That's okay. Everybody gets it wrong, so don't feel bad.
I'm so bad with names. So Matt is with Hilltop Productions, and we are going live tonight to talk about Matt's awesome short monster documentary that he has put together, A Werewolf in Wisconsin. So, Matt, welcome. Say hello and just kind of tell us about yourself, if you would.
Billy, thank you for having me on this. This is great. I am excited to talk the Beast of Bray Road, werewolves, dogmen, etc.
Yeah.
This is a piece that I really had a lot of fun. This is kind of my first on location to go. I don't live in Wisconsin where this takes place. I was visiting a friend and it turned into a cool trip for this. So video producer, podcast host, anything spooky, scary. If you want to listen to it's the Scary Movie Project podcast. I encourage you to listen. We have an episode coming up on the Beast as well. I've done some I like to do kind of urban legend cryptid documentaries. So you can also check out Something in the Bay, The Tale of Chessie, about the Chesapeake Bay monster. That was one, and I have another one called The Haunting of Old House Woods, which is about the reputed old house woods that are haunted down in Matthews, Virginia, right on the Chesapeake Bay. So I did a short on the Legend of the Bunny Man here in Fairfax. So any spooky urban legend cryptid stuff, I'm on board for. Let's do it, right?
Yeah. So are you in Virginia, Pennsylvania? Where are you at?
I'm in Virginia. I'm in right outside DC. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
My wife and I were in Charlotte. I know it's a little bit to the west, but we were in Charlottesville a couple of weekends ago. Had a really good time.
Great. Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool area up there.
Mhm.
We went with some friends, and we're going to some of the vineyards and stuff.
Oh,
so,
yeah. UVA. Yep.
Yeah. So, anyways, well, that's awesome, man. I love monster stuff. I need more of that type of content on the streaming platform. I always liked UFOs. Always liked Bigfoot stuff. I did the one documentary, The Beast of Bladenborough, which
that was good.
I think. See, I'm so hard on myself. I thought it was okay. It could have been better. It could have been a lot better.
Lots of drone, and anyone loves drone. So as long as you have drone footage, you're good, right?
Yeah, and always running through the woods footage with your camera and stuff.
Yes.
So, but yeah, so talk about, the Beast of Bray Road, which I actually have another fictional movie on the Scare Network called The Beast of Bray Road. I think it was made maybe 20 years ago. Have you watched that narrative movie?
2005?
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? I have not seen that. And I was all set one night to turn on and watch it, and I never did, and I still haven't watched. No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. It's like the only real film about it, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was narrative. No, I have to admit, man, I watched maybe half of it. I don't have time to watch every single movie from start to finish.
That's hard.
On the platform and stuff. But man, I was really impressed with what you did. Kind of talk about you say you went out there just to visit a friend and stuff. So obviously you took your camera gear and stuff. How were you able to track down some of the first let me back up a little bit. Let's if you would just kind of give everyone a little backstory on the legend of the Beast of Bray Road. When I think it was around 1991 when this first became prevalent, kind of the location in Wisconsin, why in southeastern Wisconsin would this thing, theories on why it would be in that area. If you would just give anyone watching just a little bit of backdrop on the lore, the myth of this creature.
Beast of Bray or the Beast of Bray Road. I like the voice, the narrator voice. So it got its legs, if you will. One of the first sightings was in 1936, I believe, at St. Coletta's School, outside of Elkhorn, maybe west of that area. A maintenance guy working there said he saw something in a cemetery there walking on the hind legs, right? That was one of the first sightings, they say. Then we fast forward to the 80s, right? The 80s in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, the county seat of Walworth County, okay? Southern Wisconsin. pretty close to the Illinois border, quite frankly. I drove up from Chicago. It took me like less than 2 hours, right? So it's very close. It's probably closer to Chicago than it is maybe other big cities in Wisconsin. But why Elkhorn? Yeah, that I don't know why it's there. But in the 80s, the sightings started happening. People, one woman, Lori Andreezy, said that she saw something in 1989 driving home, and a monster laying on the side, standing on the side of the road with roadkill in its hands and eating it or something, leaning over, right? And then Doris Gibson on Halloween night, of course, 1991, I think it is, you mentioned, driving home, something hits her car. She gets out. There's claw marks on her car and stuff like that, and she doesn't know what it is. Sightings were big in the 80s and 90s, right? Early 90s, 80s. This is when all this stuff was happening. And there was a woman named Linda Godfrey, and she worked for the Walworth County Journal, was it, I think? And she was a cartoonist and a writer, and she got wind of these stories. And Elkhorn's a fairly small town. Elkhorn's known as the Christmas card town, because in like the 50s, any Christmas cards you'd see probably featured Elkhorn on their cards, right? So she's not a lot else to do, I guess, in the town. So she's got this report of these werewolves and things, and she goes and she talks to someone at the county Department of Agriculture or something like that, and goes to their office and sees a file actually called Werewolf. And she's like, okay, well, this has got to be something. She ends up digging into it, and she is basically the one who came up with the title, The Beast of Bray Road, because we don't know if it was a werewolf or a dog man or whatever the heck it was. So, and she's the one that made the drawing that you see in my piece, and that if you just Google The Beast of Bray Road, the monster eating the roadkill, right? So all these stories get big. It gets lots of exposure. Bakeries are making cookies, and things are just it's just crazy, right? You don't hear much about it anymore. 2019, there was a guy, I think he said he had footage from in his car of something running. It looks phony to me, quite frankly. You've probably seen it, and it's easy to find. I don't like it. I haven't heard much about it, but that is how the story goes. Sadly, Linda passed away years ago. She's not with us, but I'll talk in a minute about Lee, who's really the go-to now. But it's, a 6 to 7 foot tall dog man werewolf type creature that is seen on hind legs walking around. It's on all fours at times. It can chase a car at 60 miles an hour and keep up with it. So Bray Road is a 4-mile, just 2-lane, one-way each lane with a yellow divider in the middle road that runs through farm country. There's a couple highways on each end of it. It's a very unassuming road that if you just got dropped there and you didn't know where this was, it was some random road you drove by. But when you know about it, obviously, it's a whole other story. So, especially at nighttime, and it really freaked me out.
So I felt like one of the most interesting things was the being able to run 50, 60 miles per hour to keep up with a car.
That's what people say. Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Stories. Yeah, I've heard those stories, and that would be like the most terrifying thing in the world. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So how long have you known about the Beast of Bray Road, and and just kind of talk about, like I mentioned, and like you said, you're going to visit a friend, but had it been on your mind to go out there and produce something on this, I guess, cryptid legend, if you will?
I'd known about the Beast forever, right? I think anyone like you and I follow this stuff probably known about it. I've heard the stories for a long time. It's one of the better known ones, I think. And I will say, shout out, and probably to most people, Small Town Monsters. They are phenomenal. Yeah. Their stuff is great. Now, if you see nothing else, though, their film, The Bray Road Beast, is outstanding.
I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It is the best thing they've ever done. It looks beautiful. It is perfect. Honestly, that was kind of the template for me. The way they shot this thing, and it was gray and cloudy, and it was just perfect. And they had like a fairy tale intro about werewolves, and it's just perfect. So that's really where that was 2018, I guess, that they made that, maybe even 2017, little close to 10 years ago. And that was like the standard for me. So once I saw that, then I was really into the story. I thought, okay, I'm not going to just go to Wisconsin just for this. This is kind of, whatever. So I'm a big Oregon football fan, and they moved into the Big Ten this past year. So now they're going to come closer toward me. They didn't make any big East Coast moves, but they went to play University of Wisconsin. I thought, well, I've got a friend of mine. She is getting her PhD there. So I said, look, I'm going to head out there. Let's go to the game. This will be fun. She said, yeah, let's do it. So while I'm thinking through all the things, I realized, oh my God, the Beast of Bray Road. I do this. I didn't know the geography of Wisconsin, but I found it and just looking at it eventually and realized, oh, this is totally doable. I'll
Yeah.
just get here on a Wednesday or Thursday. The game's on a Saturday. Got the drone, got my cams, got my media, my audio, everything together, and
Yeah.
was able to meet up with Lee Hample, who is kind of the go-to now because now that Linda Godfrey's passed away. You've probably seen Lee on Discovery Channel if you've seen any of these shows. He's the guy. He has a farm on Bowers Road, which is right behind Bray Road. He claims the Beast lives on his property, and he's amazing. He's got photos for days of the Beast, and he's got photos of UFOs, and he's got just incredible stuff. You could spend like literally days on his property learning all this stuff. So we drove around his property. He was showing me places where he had deer that were taken, hay bales that weighed 1,000 pounds that were literally, we saw them knocked over. Like, what could have possibly knocked these things over? I didn't see anything when I was there, but I definitely drove up and down the road at night, and that was really scary.
Did you get out of the car at night on the road?
I got out for a minute just to kind of like experience and just stand there for a minute. Really, I didn't shoot anything just because it was just too hard to shoot. And especially on the road at night when the headlights, your car's coming quickly. If you're outside the car, it's actually dangerous. I just didn't want to play around with that. But probably drove up and down the road itself and the following roads in the vicinity 20, 30 times throughout the entire day and a half I was there. So yeah, the genesis was to go see football, but when I realized where I was, I said, okay, well, I have to go do this too.
Yeah. So, I mean, spending, a couple of days in that area and listening to the stories of some of the locals and stuff there, I mean, what is your takeaway? I mean, it's so hard to prove. It's kind of like Bigfoot, man. It's like, why can't we just find a dead Bigfoot body or whatever?
Why is there no evidence, right? So for me, I got to see some photos. The coolest, kind of spookiest part for me was, he had shown me some photos that he had of the Beast walking through the field, and we then drove out, and I was literally standing where he was standing, taking with that photo where he took it, and I could look out into that actual field, and that was like hair on the back of your neck moment, because like this is where this dude, I saw a photo of some creature I don't know walking out there. This is weird.
Yeah,
that was spooky, and to be out there. It was November, all the crops had died off. It was a perfect time to go. Yeah. And seeing those hay bales that have been knocked over, like who did this? What could have possibly done this? As far as what's there, like, I didn't see anything. Nothing happened when I was there, but tons and tons of stories. People have these thoughts that it is something that lives out there, and because the road itself, it's houses and it's fields, but there's really not a lot of places. But there is like a quarry area back behind his property where something could live, I guess.
Yeah.
And you get really into these deep kind of deals with these like dimensional things where the Beast doesn't even live on this planet. It lives somewhere else, and it's dropped into here by something else, and it appears, and then it comes in and out. People have mentioned things where they see it and it looks like a digital artifact where it's glitching, like a digital image glitches.
Yeah.
And they've said they've seen that. So it may not even be an actual physical creature. Like there are a lot of different, again, the rabbit hole, you can go down this stuff forever and ever. I would like to believe it's an actual physical creature that, no one's ever seen. Or has seen, but doesn't know what the heck it is. Right.
Well, that's, what you said about the different dimensions and supernatural. That's always been a long-standing theory with Bigfoot too. If you do any kind of research, a lot of people, equate it to being supernatural and can travel and hence why you never find any Bigfoot bones.
People think that about the Loch Ness Monster here too, where there's a theory that they say the Loch Ness Monster is real. It's a real creature.
Yeah.
But what's happening is when people see it, it's come back in from like thousands of years ago into one of these dimensions, whatever you want to think, and it swims around and then it's gone again. And it's like, so that's the theory people have. Like it's one of these things. That's a little past my belief, but I don't know. I have no idea. So.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to love the Loch Ness Monster, and I'm like,
which is the best,
dude. And I'm like, man, I want to go over to Scotland to try to do something on it, but it's like, what am I going to do? Just go sit at a lake for 4 or 5 days?
Well, that's kind of what I want to do. Yeah, you can come down here to Chesapeake Bay, and we can go shoot another Chesapeake if you want. You're more than welcome to. I'm happy to go back out again.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, like what you said about Loch Ness Monster. So when you're talking about going back to the Werewolf and the Beast of Bray Road, I mean, it's like, if there were reported sightings and 1936, you're talking about, almost 90 years ago. It's
Yeah.
like, how's this thing still alive, or how's it reproducing, or, I mean,
Right. Right.
it's, but I guess that just kind of adds to the lore. It's like, what is
So
happening?
a big thing too, and I've read some of Linda Godfrey's books that she wrote, and the whole thing about the dog man, right? Like that's the big, forget the whole werewolf thing. Dog man, that's a thing.
Yeah.
They, especially up in like Michigan, like up in those more
Mhm.
northern states like that, the dog man theory, where it's a half man, half beast creature that wanders around. You hear about dog man in every state. They talk about it everywhere. And the more you read about it, the more you realize also Wisconsin's like a spooky state, like for real.
Yeah.
There's a lot of paranormal like activity going on in that state. There's a lot of old tribal stuff that happens, and people forget we weren't here first, okay? Like we were not. And there's a lot of old mounds and burial places and things like that, and a lot of energy, and a lot of happenings happening at crossroads, and land was built on these places where these things happen. And there's stuff that could have happened that we don't know anything about thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
And the more you read about it, the more sightings you get about it, and the more stories people tell, and the more you can kind of make these things believable. And it's just, this happens to be, a spot where in this state where these things just seem to happen a lot.
Yeah. I've shot a ton of stories in Ohio.
Oh yeah. Ohio's big, like the Grass Man and stuff like that, right?
I mean, well, true crime,
Oh
paranormal,
yeah,
monster. Sure. I mean, those three things throughout Ohio just run rampant, and I'm like questioning what is up with Ohio. But I've heard a lot about Wisconsin too, and I need to do more research and get more stories. That's one of the reasons that I started Scare Network 4.5 years ago, because I feel like almost every town in America, to a degree, either has a ghost story or has some type of a mythological lore to it. And it's like,
100%.
man, if you can capture half of those stories with all of these towns in America, then you just have content for days and days and days.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's awesome what you did there. Like, so Elkhorn, for example, what's the population of Elkhorn, Wisconsin?
Oh gosh,
roughly?
I should know this because I working on the edit for so long. I want to say it's like 10,000. It's not many. It's not many at all. It is really.
That's big on what I thought it would have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I mean there are more than one stoplight. I mean it actually is a nice little spot. I had some pizza when I was there. It was a good little spot to stay, and I enjoyed it. It was nice and quiet, obviously. But I'll also mention one thing though too that is I was going to think of there's a lot of stories of cults that go on.
I was going to ask you about that
with
too.
This stuff. So if you want to get into that too, there's a lot of stories of cults, and also talking about what the beast is. You would think a state like Wisconsin, very northern, would have like wolves, but the wolf population is not big, and especially not in the southern part of the state. It's not a thing really. Yeah. And if you saw a wolf, it would actually be out of the ordinary in that part of the state. And when we're talking about the spooky part of Wisconsin. And this is the state where Jeffrey Dahmer and Ed Gein were from too. Okay,
yeah.
So
the
state has plenty of scary stuff going on.
They don't get any.
Elkhorn, not a big state, not a big city at all.
I didn't know Jeffrey Dahmer was from Wisconsin, but they don't get
any. Ohio originally, but he lived in Milwaukee. That's where he did all of his.
That's right. Yeah. Those two dudes are two of the most evil guys ever.
Yep. Wisconsin residents.
They were definitely monsters. But yeah, I was going to ask.
Those are the real monsters. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the cults. It's like, what would a cult in association with the beast? I mean, I can't really wrap my head around. I mean, you mentioned it in your piece, but you didn't expand on it. Do you know anything?
You know what? I really don't. And it was brought up by one of my by Chad Robinson, who's the librarian there, who was outstanding. He was so good. Yeah. He mentioned the cults, and he may know more, but I did not go super deep. Like I didn't really mention the St. Coletta school stuff. I didn't have any info on it. I wasn't able to get to that location, so I stuck with what I could. But as far as the cults, I mean, it could be like a sacrificial thing that maybe the beast is involved in somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about the cult stuff involvement in that. I know people have asked me about that stuff. They want to know more about that. And that's a part that I probably could have definitely incorporated more of. I didn't. But I don't know a ton about the cult stuff though. I don't. Cool. But I know it is a part of the story though.
Yeah. So for those just joining us, this is Matt Lolich, and he is the director and producer of Werewolf in Wisconsin, which will be premiering exclusively on Scare Network tomorrow night. We're going to keep it up there for about a month, and then Matt's going to put it out on a couple other places. I mean, we'll keep it on there, you know, with Matt's permission, but he's going to put it a couple other places. And we have a couple other of Matt's short docs, monster docs on, and we're starting to get some of his podcasts on there too, slowly but surely. Need to be better about getting those up there, but yeah. So Matt, let's just kind of talk about like what has where did your interest get piqued with all of the paranormal monster, you know, horror kind of content, if you would?
You know what? People ask me this, like especially with the podcast. I remember being a kid, like not even maybe 10 years old, even, and being on summer break and just going to the video store and renting like all the Friday the 13th movies.
Dude, that's so fun. Sorry to interrupt, but I used to do the same thing. And my mom's like a super religious woman, and she would let me rent those. The Nightmare on Elm Street.
That was like summer vacation. I would go to and I would rent these, and it just took off from there, man. And it became, you know, not just the movies. It became, you know, like the scary stuff to read about. Or I remember also getting. Do you remember the Time Life books, Mysteries of the Unknown? You remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 100%.
I had those when I was a kid. We actually knew somebody, a family friend that worked at Time Life, and got us a couple of the books actually. And those were the greatest books ever because they were like ghosts and witches and stuff.
Yeah.
And like 15 years ago, I went and bought the whole collection again on eBay, and it shipped to me. I got it on a bookshelf because it weighs like 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. And I used to watch like the Sightings, those TV shows that were on TV when I was a kid.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh my God, that stuff just spiraled, and it finally just became like the movies, and then the movies that I love became like more like, okay, I really want to make these, so I ended up, you know, getting into production and getting into film and getting on to do a lot of stuff too. But and, you know, reading the scary, you know, reading Stephen King and doing all this stuff. And that just, one thing just, you know, spirals into so many other outlets for it. So I've been watching this stuff since I was a little kid. Oh yeah.
I remember when I was a kid and you remember the book fairs you know, you'd have at school. I remember all I would buy would be like UFO books and Bigfoot books and monster stuff.
Like when I go, I'm not lying. When I go to the grocery store and I'm standing in line and you see like one of like the books on like, you know, strange places, like I'm tempted to like go and buy one of those things still. Yes.
It's crazy, man. I was actually a couple weeks ago. This is such an underrated film, man. But to me, it's one of my top 5 favorite films of all time. It was on AMC. Signs, M. Night Shyamalan. I think it was his 2nd or 3rd film.
I did an episode on M. Night Shyamalan. I'm not a fan of him, but continue.
Really? Yes. No. Did you ever see Signs?
Seen it? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen most of it. I love The Sixth Sense and I love Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Everything else, his endings, they make me crazy.
I know. I love him, but he drives me nuts, man.
Great filmmaker.
A lot of his stuff is hit or miss, but I felt like Signs.
People love Signs.
Just in my opinion, I felt like it was one of the best UFO movies ever made, in my opinion, because he was so subtle with it. He just didn't throw it in your face with the aliens and stuff like that.
The home video with the alien walking down the street and then turning like that, you know, that's a classic scene.
I know. That's crazy. So what else? What else have you? What other kind of talk, if you will, about? I mean, we mentioned the Chesapeake, but what's that about? And then the other haunting documentary that you
Something in the Bay. So the Tale of Chessie there is reportedly a monster in the Chesapeake Bay, and it goes by Chessie, and people have been seeing it for hundreds of years. And there have been reports from the 1500s and the 1600s and so on and so forth. And again, lots of reports. There is a very famous video, which sadly no one can get their hands on. I have not been able to see it. The guy's name was Bob Frew, and he lived on Love Point, which is right across the bay, right across the bridge. And Memorial Day of 1982, 84, maybe, I forget, early 80s, he's having a barbecue, and his house is right on the bay, and they go, "Whoa, there's a monster out there." He recorded like a few minutes of something swimming in the bay, and he had it analyzed and Smithsonian and all that stuff. And they could not say conclusively, this is not something we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, I mean, skeptical, obviously they don't want to release the tape. limited people have seen this tape, and from what I gather, you cannot find it. You cannot find it. I was able to find a gentleman by the name of Eric Cheesem. He is the expert on this. And I was able to drive across the bay, and he was gracious with his time to let me sit down and interview him. He's in the piece. He's basically your narrator. He knows everything. He's seen the video. I have not. But
oh wow,
they say that it is, it's your same old, plesiosaur, long-necked, monster that lives in the bay, and watermen see it, fishermen see it. But then the great thing about it is his take, and then our piece kind of became it became more about not so much is it really a monster, it became more about a thought of a way of life and how things became generated by this strange idea that this monster would live there. And it kind of became something else in my story. So it took a different turn. It wasn't necessarily scary. It became something else, but I liked the way it became. And I was Denver Michaels. If you've ever met Denver Michaels, he's a great cryptid writer. I've had him on the show. He's awesome. He was able to talk about Jesse too. So we had a lot of fun with that. That was a good one. And then The Haunting of Old House Woods. So there's a patch of woods in Matthews, well, technically Diggs, Virginia, but Matthews, Virginia, a little tiny town in the middle peninsula of Virginia. And it's a 50 acres or so. And it's ancient. It's ancient woodland, right? That's on the bay. I mean, this is stuff that was there when, before anything, right?
Yeah.
And it's essentially the same as it was then. And it is reputedly insanely haunted. Like, we're talking Revolutionary War soldiers, pirates that buried their treasure there. People say they hear digging at nighttime, ghost ships that float. We've got soldiers that walk down the street with their armor on, clanging, asking where their ships have been. I mean, headless dogs chasing people.
Yeah.
The Storm Woman, a woman who comes, she's a banshee essentially, and she warns her husband was lost at sea in a storm, and she now shows up to warn of sailors of big storms that are coming, right?
Yeah.
And I've stood on the water there at Haven Beach, and it's all, the scraggly grass and the timbers that grow out there, and you totally buy these stories when you're out there.
Yeah.
And I went down there a few years ago, and I was I got in touch with some people that were really good that used to live down there, and they were actually able to give me. I got a story in that documentary of a guy who said he saw one of the ghost ships.
Wow.
And I had a lot of great encounters with people down there. Met up with a guy who was great. We had an interview down there. And I spent about 2 days flying the drone above the tree line and flying it by the bushes and getting great footage. And you're down there by yourself. And even at 4 in the afternoon, you're shooting, you're like checking behind you every minute or so to make sure nothing's sneaking up. Because it is just quiet out there. It's like I said, it's ancient. And all that's out there really are, there's a lot of wildlife like beavers and frogs and things that are roaming around, obviously. But you wonder, like, and the woods are so dense, and it's no trespassing stuff. You don't mess around with. You got to park on the side of the road, but it's just this little 1-lane road, Old House Woods Road.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're going to see like a pirate ship, or you're going to hear something coming up on you. But that was a lot of fun to get the eyewitness stories. I had multiple stories with it. We had a lot of fun with that. And then the other one, there's a short I did years ago that is the Legend of the Bunny Man.
Okay.
In Fairfax, Virginia, the Bunny Man. Some say it's an escaped convict from a mental institution. Some say it's a crazy dude wearing a rabbit suit. But there were stories in the 70s of a guy in a suit going up and attacking people in cars with an axe. And this was in the newspaper. And it's out in Colchester Road, out in Fairfax. There's a Bunny Man Bridge. It's a little 1-lane bridge. It's real narrow. And the Amtrak runs on or the local, I forget what train it is, runs on, I think it is Amtrak, runs on top of this. And they say at midnight on Halloween, if you're there, you'll be killed by the Bunny Man. You'll be hung like a corpse. It's a great, urban, kids order to drink, obviously, and stuff like that. We had fun. I did like a 10-minute short on that. That was fun. But that's a good urban legend story that's pretty famous in the area. So these are the 3 that are local to me. So I used what was local, really, and did those. And then finally, got the chance, because I was heading out to Wisconsin News anyway. So, but I mean, like you said, there's something in every town or every city somewhere that has one of these stories, right?
The Bunny Man thing. Have you ever seen the movie Donnie Darko?
So I've seen like a long time ago, and I've only seen like half of it. But that's like the whole the Bunny Man.
You need it, you need it. That's such a good movie.
So
I got Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, he did a great job. It was one of his early movies. I think his sister was in it too. But I got a story for you. So I was down in Florida back in June. I went down there for a week and shot a bunch of new content for the Scare Network. And I actually interviewed. Have you ever heard of the skunk ape down in Florida?
Yes.
It's Florida's
Yes.
version of.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the footage from Dave Shealy? Speaking of Smithsonian and stuff,
Maybe
he's
I
got.
have.
It's
Yeah.
on YouTube. If you were to just
Familiar.
if you just type in Dave Shealy and skunk ape. Anyways, I sat down and did like an hour-long interview with him,
That's
and
awesome.
and I got the footage, and I'm gonna kind of do and I'm gonna get some other interviews via Zoom and stuff. I got some other ones while I was down there, but this guy, he stalked out skunk ape. He said he's seen it 3 times now. He caught it one time on video, and then one time he had a still camera and got some pictures, and then the third time he didn't have a camera with him, but that was really cool. So yeah, I've got some. He's got a whole store, or a huge store down there, Skunk Ape store, and all this memorabilia, and
That's amazing.
yeah. So I'll be putting that together soon, and I'm gonna start a series on Scare Network. I think, I'm not sure, I may call it like American Monsters or something like that.
I like it.
Yeah, so because I shot a couple other ones while I was down there too, and I shot some true crime and some paranormal stuff down there. I got a lot.
You could have a whole network based on Florida itself on the crazy stuff that goes on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was down there for like 5-6 days, and I probably got 4 or 5 documentaries shot.
That's
like
crazy.
Honestly, yeah, I was just
That's some
going
crazy
nonstop.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida's crazy. But let me do the little trailer that you put together. Let me play that, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about a werewolf in Wisconsin. So this is only 30 seconds, so we'll play this real quick.
Werewolf. Let all who travel here beware the Beast of Bray Road.
Nice.
Beware the Beast.
So that is the little teaser
Yeah.
trailer for A Werewolf in Wisconsin. If you are just tuning in, it will premiere tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on the Scare Network. So go grab your subscription, only $4.99 a month, cancel anytime, and watch Matt's short monster documentary tomorrow night, along with everything else we have to offer. So Matt, before we went live, I want to read this one comment that we got on one of our posts, and then I just want to get your thoughts on that. So this was a woman who made a post on the Scare Network, one of the teasers for this live we're doing right now. Her name's Jean Trax. I'm butchering her last name, Kirking. And she says, I used to live in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. This creature is well known in the area. My daughter is a nurse who works at Lakeland Hospital in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, and she experienced this creature one night as she was driving home from work. She mentioned to her coworkers that she saw a huge creature running across the road in front of her car and into the field near the hospital. She was positive it wasn't a farm animal or deer. She said it was extremely fast and too huge to be anything native to the area. She had never heard any stories about this werewolf creature prior to seeing it that night. She and her coworkers are 99.9% sure that my daughter witnessed the werewolf running past her car and into the field. So when you hear something like that, I guess that validates.
That's the sightings in a nutshell. I mean, that's it right there. That's exactly what it is. It's this beast that, it's the story of, I was driving home from work. It was late.
Yeah.
People use Bray Road, I think, as like a cut through road, like it from the highway, so you can kind of pass through the highways. I noticed the highways in Wisconsin are like highway, like NN and like HH. They all have these double letters.
Yeah.
So you could cut through technically Bray Road. There's a couple other roads that pass through Hospital Road and stuff like that, so you can make a shortcut out of it.
Yeah.
I think people do that, and that's where they end up seeing this thing. Like that's where these eyewitnesses it comes from. The part about never hearing about it and living in Elkhorn, I'm skeptical about that. But that's exactly.
Maybe she had just moved there to get a job at the hospital. I don't know.
That's very true. That's very true. So that's pretty much what all these sightings are. Yeah, that's exactly what they are. They see a beast that they can't explain on 2 legs or running across the road. There's no way it's an animal, or they accidentally hit it or something, or it makes contact with their car. The one thing I will say, I'm glad, I guess, is there's no contact with humans this beast has ever done. Thankfully, it hasn't attacked anybody. But yeah, that's a spooky story. For
Yeah.
sure.
Did you say, is it Lee Hample? Is that his name?
Lee Hample.
And is he a full-time farmer there, or?
Yeah, so he owns about I think it's 35 acres. It's not a lot. He really what it's hay.
Okay.
And he lives in Illinois, an hour south maybe. And he comes there when he needs to take care of it and to harvest it and whatever. And he just has a big outbuilding, really, is what it is. And he's neighboring some other people there. But it's not like a big, like a farm, like a dairy farm or anything like that. It's nothing like that.
So he's convinced that this beast
he
on his property.
I mean, he's seen it 3 to 5 times, half a dozen times.
Never gotten video or?
Oh, he's got photos. He's got all kinds of stuff. He's got all
What
kinds.
His photos look like?
He's got all. I mean, that was like the one I saw was really spooky, and it's something you can't really. Remember, I was talking about like a digital artifact, almost something like a glitch. It's truly a form that's standing up, but it has no distinguishable features.
Yeah,
but it's a mass of something large. It looks like if you were to take a pencil and draw what a werewolf looks like standing up, or from a movie like The Howling, the monster in The Howling, it looks like that. It really does. And they're far away photos. You don't want to get too close, and you can't get too close, I guess. But he's seen it walk right up to the barn, like right to his barn where we were sitting. He's seen it walk to the front door of the barn. He has tracks of it. So here you go. I had it here. If anyone noticed it, this is
plaster cast.
This is 5-toed, 7-pad, whatever he has. It's unlike any track that anything has made, right? So he's had these tracks looked at by like people at University of Wisconsin. They can't say what it is. They're not sure what it is.
Yeah.
These massive things. He's got prints in the snow of it walks, like The Shining. It goes and then it stops, the tracks just stop. And he's got all kinds of interesting tracks of it. Photos. He puts out trap cameras, and the photos, there's no photos because something interferes with them. Batteries, supernatural, of course, draining batteries, and you know all about that. Yeah, sure. Nothing happened like that. My batteries didn't die on me, thankfully. He said he's been ill before, like it's made him not feel well before when he's been around it. So all those things like you think about, nothing. I didn't experience any of them, but he's a wealth of knowledge. He's amazing. He's great.
Nice. So a lot of the stuff that you're describing and you're talking about, there's a lot of similarities with the Beast of Bladenborough, with the the documentary that I produced here in North Carolina. This only an hour from where I live, and that beast, very odd, and back in the mid 50s, just kind of terrorized a small town, and it made worldwide headlines, and people were coming from all over the United States to try to hunt that thing. And it never attacked a human, but it charged at a couple of them, and they were able to get back into their house and stuff. But
see, that's real. I mean, that's
and this one, they called it the vampire beast too, because apparently it was sucking the blood out of cows and some other farm animals and stuff too. So I guess with yours,
what this reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of the story of the Beast of Gévaudan, the one in France. You familiar with that?
Yeah, I have heard of that.
That's what exactly. It's like the same thing. It's like an actual. There was something real that was actually attacking people in a town. Yeah, that's crazy.
But there's a lot of theories that there was a circus in a neighboring town, and that it happened. They were traveling from town to town, and there was a wreck, and one of the big panthers or one of their big cats kind of got out, and people attributed to that. But then witnesses and stuff said that it definitely wasn't a panther or a cat like that. So but that, there were over the years, there's a lot of similar, I don't think there's been a sighting recently, but over the years throughout different places in North and South Carolina, this kind of beast has been seen. But there are, there are a few similarities there. But I thought it was interesting what you said about, I guess, wolves not being prevalent in that area of Wisconsin too, right? Isn't that what you said? But they're up in Michigan, but not down.
There is, I think there is a wolf population in Wisconsin, but it's not that far. It doesn't come that far south. So I think seeing it there would have been like very like whoa, and they would have had like the state and animal control on that. Real they would have scoured the area for something like I think they would to be able to round it up. So the odds of that they say are and of course it's a bear with mange. Like that's always it's something with mange they always say, and it's like well I don't even know if there are bears in I guess there's bears in Wisconsin. I don't know much about that.
I would imagine there would be.
Yeah, but I would think more farther north too. So there's a really good. I don't know if you watch Expedition X, Josh Gates stuff.
Yeah, I do from time to time. Yeah.
They did a 2-part on the Beast of Bray Road. They interview Lee. They interview Lee.
See that one.
Yeah, it's good. And they do a whole like one of the guys goes to like a wolf sanctuary. So they explain the whole being south like that, and they examine the prints and stuff. And they drive up and down the road at night, and they see the eyes shine, of course, and everything. And the ending is kind of anticlimactic. They basically say nothing, but they go over all that stuff too. So yeah, like the basically the idea of a wolf or a bear in that region of the state is like not normal. That would not be normal.
Yeah. I watch a lot of Josh Gates' stuff, and
I love him.
I don't know if did you see the documentary that came out a couple of months ago on the what was the thing that tried to go down to the Titanic a couple years ago and ended up blowing up? Titan, the Discovery.
I know. I didn't see that. And I'm a big Titanic guy too. I need to watch that.
You should watch. I think Netflix. Right? I think Netflix did one, but no, this one wasn't. This Discovery Channel did one.
I know that Josh said he had met and he got in the sub once, but he refused to actually go like underwater in it.
He did go underwater with it. That's what I'm saying. There was a whole 30-minute segment on Josh Gates and them going to shoot a thing with him, and really? he and this is so odd and so chilling too. He went back to executives after they flew out to Seattle and they did the production. He went back to executives wherever their office in New York or wherever, and he said, "Look, he's like, I know you spent all this money on this production. He's like, but I'm begging you to not air this episode because something bad is going to happen with that thing."
When did they do this?
Do what?
When
they shot that probably about 5 years ago.
Oh, damn.
And it never aired, but they still had all the footage. They had all the interviews, and they put that in the documentary.
Oh, damn.
Okay. You got to go. Yeah, you got to go. It is chilling to watch. The computers were malfunctioning in the thing.
Oh, yeah. They were controller.
It was so bad. And you could tell what was going to happen too.
You know what? That's the thing that now you're hearing from everybody is everyone knew like this awful thing is going to happen. You cannot let this guy, you can't do this. Like there's no way. I mean, I'm a big Titanic guy. I love the Titanic.
Yeah.
I would never in a million years get inside of a submersible. I'm too claustrophobic. There's no way in hell I would do that.
Me either.
Especially not in that little thing. It's the size of my bathroom. You forget that. But I mean, it seemed like this was inevitable. This was going to happen. Unfortunately, it was a terrible thing.
I know. But that you brought up Josh Gates' name, and every time
that's right up his alley. That's right up his alley.
I think about that. But okay, well, Matt. So what else? What else do you have going on? What's in your head about trying to produce anything new? What's the future hold?
Yeah, you know what? I want to get up to the Pine Barrens soon, and all you cryptids know I'm talking about with the Pine Barrens. I want to go do something with the Jersey Devil. I've yet to go up to that. I've driven by the area sort of on the way to like Atlantic City one time, but I haven't stopped in or anything.
Yeah.
That's like the really big one I want to get to. I don't know my idea for it yet. I have someone who could maybe get me in, who could get me some interviews and could really be, could help out a lot with that. So that's what I'd like to do next. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how. I don't know any of the W's for this yet.
Yeah.
But that would be probably the next one that I would really like to get the notch in the belt probably for.
Yeah. Well, keep me updated if anything comes to fruition, because I've been wanting to produce something on the Jersey Devil as well too.
It's a great collaboration.
Yeah. Maybe we could get something figured out with that. Would love to do that. But I'm gonna wrap it up. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody go and watch the Werewolf in Wisconsin tomorrow night, talking about the Beast of Bray Road in Wisconsin, Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And like I said, after a month or so, Matt's going to put it out on some of his other channels and whatnot. But everybody go and check out the Scare Network and download one of our apps. And just continue to help us grow, if you will. Matt, any parting words about this specific documentary or anything else?
I hope you guys enjoy it. The theme and the look of it was definitely inspired, like I said, by the Small Town Monsters piece. I got the weather to cooperate with me perfectly for it, so that was great.
Yeah.
There's a great scene I'll mention if you're ever in Elkhorn, go to Bray Road, drive down it, and you'll notice, go slowly depending on what side of the road you're on. I don't know which way you're going to go, but there is a statue in someone's yard of the Beast. They sculpted it, and they stand up, and it's like this. And when I was there, it was dressed in like jeans and it has like chains on it. And it's in this guy's front yard. And of course, we have to show it in the film. But that'll be the one thing, if you don't ever want to actually, research the Beast, stop, just look at the window, take a photo of this thing. It's just hilarious. But other than that, all I can say is beware the Beast of Bray Road,
Yeah, and plug your podcast again. How can people find that again?
Definitely. Yeah, if you guys want to see, and you guys want to see more stuff, go to Hilltop Productions. Look at hilltopvideos.com, at hilltopvid on Instagram. You can go watch the other 2 documentaries that are there. The podcast is The Scary Movie Project, at The Scary Movie Project on Instagram, thescarymovieproject.com. Same thing on YouTube as well. Go check it out. We have 5 years, over 100 episodes, and we're still going strong. And we're going to have an episode on the Beast pretty soon too. So it keeps going.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you so much, brother, for joining us tonight. And everybody, go check out the Scare Network and let us know tomorrow night after Matt's short Monster Doc premieres. Let us know what you think about it, and check out any of our other stuff we have on there too. So until then, thanks everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. Thank you guys.